At DMAC, I feel I'm on an exploratory mission. I'm just coming off of 5 years as WPA at the University of Cincinnati, and I'm trying to catch up on some of the later, more recent technological advances in digital media. And there are a number of things, such as the use of video, that I let slide during my tenure as WPA. So I've been experimenting a lot with video, making short movies, kind of manipulating film and text and iMovie, QuickTime. And so that's been a lot of fun. So that's the technological dimension of what I'm trying to do here. But my larger theoretical exploratory mission is to look critically at the work of the mid-century French filmmaker Jean Cocteau, who is not as well known in the States as he is in Europe, where he's a phenomenally popular figure. But Cocteau was a polymath. He was a poet, playwright, artist, filmmaker. He wrote scenarios for ballets, worked with some of the most important artists and musicians of his time, and in my argument, is among the first to really embrace a multimodal composing mode. And I'm arguing in part, at least I hope to argue, that Cocteau offers us some interesting ways to think theoretically about multimodality, but more specifically, since Cocteau was among first major artists to also explore his own queerness, I'm thinking about how Cocteau looked at queerness multimodally, and I'm asking the big theoretical question: how can queerness, or how should queerness be figured multimodally? My preference is, in many ways, for multimodal composing. And I think that's, for me, the default option, because I don't care for new media anymore. I don't necessarily think that what we're doing is particularly new. And again, part of my larger argument is that there's been a lot of multimodal composition going on for some time, but while our tools have changed, a lot of the composing and rhetorical practices, they're certainly not static, but people have been thinking about rhetorical conventions and multimodal composition for a long time. So that's why I prefer not to say new media. Now, I mean, I could easily problematize that theoretically and suggest that new communications technologies certainly might offer whole new rhetorical dimensions, much less possibilities for enhanced or new constructions of subjectivity, but whatever. I think, like I said, my preference is just for multimodal composing. The term emphasizes not only working in multiple modes, but also that we are composing and have a common cause with people who have been composing for millennia. I would say that for the most part, my work for the last 10 years has been in trying to think critically about the use of computer technology to enhance composition, enhance the teaching of writing. And so I spent a bit of time doing that, though I've also looked increasingly at the ways in which people figure themselves, in which different kind of groups represent themselves via the new communications technologies. And I see that as a kind of work that will have increasing personal and professional and potentially even political significance within my own career. So I have to admit, I sense in my own professional life a transition from thinking about the writing classroom to thinking much more about cyberculture and the the political figuration and social figuration of identity and community and political activism through these new technologies. From this experience in particular, I hope to bring not only work towards the different projects that I've outlined for myself, kind of work on my web text, greater development of my own skills in dealing with multiple media, but also a greater sense of how to talk with people in a variety of disciplines about the necessity of thinking of writing and of composing in extremely expansive terms. As I transition from the University of Cincinnati to California, Irvine, I want to start a long-term project in which I ask students to reflect on what they think writing is. And it seems to me that people of whom we teach, the very people whom we teach, people of newer generations, are figuring writing in very different ways than we might have figured it, or certainly people in past generations figured it. And so I'm interested in knowing how to talk to them about what writing, about what composing is for them, where they do it, how they do it, why they do it. And I figure that the discussions that I'm having here at DMAC will help me to enter into those conversations with more vigor and gust. That's a really good question. If you're thinking about trying to figure out how to marshal support at your institution for the work that you want to do, usually there's a lot of good rhetoric surrounding technology. You might be hard-pressed to find an administrator who will say, oh, technology, we don't want any of that. So you usually can find at least a few allies in a university's administration who will assist you in finding funds for support, either of labs or of computers, software, whatnot. The other thing, though, that I found particularly useful is to learn the language of accreditation, which is not something that many people in English studies know a lot about. But many of our colleagues in other disciplines are subject to accreditation review, and many of those accrediting bodies are very interested in students developing technological literacy skills. And so allowing yourself the opportunity to familiarize yourself with that language and talk with people about it, making contacts with people in other disciplines, can help them see that you and your work with students in multimodality or in technological literacy or in writing and composition and computers is bringing them something. It's not just your pet fetish, your kind of own particular interest. It's actually working with students on developing the kinds of skills that they need, which will allow people in other disciplines to be able to point to their accrediting bodies to say, hey, our students are actually really embracing technological literacy because our faculty is embracing it as well. So that would be kind of my institutional approach to thinking about support. I'm Jonathan Alexander, and I'm a visiting scholar at DMAC.